Tom Kozlowski here with you on 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com. Also joined by Andrew Williams, and joining us on the phone lines, a former two-time UFC welterweight champion, UFC Hall of Fame inductee, Matt Hughes joins us. And Matt, the Sportsman Channel, there's a lot of talk going on of what's happening behind the scenes. Tell the listeners here in the Capital Region what makes the Sportsman Channel so great and why people need to continue to watch it and get behind it.
Well, the Sportsman Channel is one of the only channels that really gives the raw lifestyle of the outdoor. I was born and raised on a farm. I've been hunting and fishing my whole life, walking through the timber, and there's really no other channel that does all that to give you the outdoor lifestyle. That and the outdoor channel would be the two. So with Verizon cutting that channel, it's really a disservice to its viewers.
And if you're a Verizon Fios customer here in the Capital Region, here's what we need you to do. We need you to contact Verizon and demand they engage and call the action and get it back on. Call Verizon 800-710-1922. You can also visit keepsportsman.com. And on social media, use the hashtag keepsportsman to keep that around. But if you're here in the Albany region, you can watch the Sportsman Channel on DirecTV channel 605 and on Time Warner Cable 409. But for Verizon Fios customers, do your best to keep the Sportsman Channel alive here in the Capital Region.
And Matt, when I found out we were doing this interview, I had to check out the show, went to the Sportsman Channel on Time Warner, and you've been on hunts all over the world, some incredible animals you've been hunting. What's been your favorite place so far?
That's a tough one. Could be Africa, going to Africa, or up in northern BC, British Columbia. I was hunting a mountain goat, and I think that just aired here a little while ago. So that was my favorite hunt, but my favorite area would be Africa.
Is there ever a moment on a show where you went back and watched the episode and thought, oh, man, I'm bummed out they cut that out, or there was this great moment that happened that you wish that made the air that you might be able to share with us?
Usually they do a pretty good job. We try and keep it as real as possible. So we try and keep the camera going the whole time. I try and have somebody on the show with me because it gives me somebody to bounce my personality off of. It's hard to just go out there by yourself and make somewhat of a show. So I got to have somebody to feed off of a little bit. I was born and raised with a twin brother, so if I've got a good guide with me, that's great. And if not, I'll try and bring somebody on the show. But they do a pretty good job of airing anything that's relevant.
UFC Fight Night Barnett versus Nelson. You can catch it on Fox Sports 1 in Japan, 10 p.m. here on Saturday. Former two-time UFC welterweight champion, UFC Hall of Fame inductee Matt Hughes joins us on the phone lines.
And Matt, I know last year you said if Dana White ever calls you and said, I need you to come back, you would maybe think about it. But how has this show kind of helped you get to that next chapter of moving on from the UFC?
Well, all I've done my whole life is compete. Whether it was on the farm, competing with my twin brother with this or with that, or high school wrestling, college wrestling, the UFC. So that's really all I know. So this is, hunting is a huge competition. Me against the animal. You've got to get close enough. You've got to play to win. You got to keep out of the sight of the animal. So this is a way for me to somewhat compete and feel good about myself because it is tough to go from competing in the UFC, which could be the most competitive thing ever, to doing nothing. So this has been a great little thing for me just to stay busy.
UFC Hall of Famer Matt Hughes joining us on the phone lines. Make sure to check him on Twitter at MattHughes9X. And Matt, the Las Vegas Fight Commission recently suspended Nick Diaz for 5 years. Do you think that punishment was fair?
No, I don't think it was real fair. But I'm not the commission. I don't know all the facts, so I just don't really know what to say.
Do you think, what's your relationship like with Nick? Are you bummed out you don't get to see him fight again? Are you not really that heartbroken over the decision?
Well, the thing is, Nick has a huge fan base. So, I think everybody wants to see Nick fight again. No, I don't know Nick real well, and we are a lot different. But, Nick having that huge fan base of his from the California area, everybody wants Nick to fight. The UFC wants Nick to fight because they want all Nick's supporters happy, So, everybody wants Nick to fight. The commission, I think, they're trying to, and I don't know a lot about it, I think they're trying to make an example out of him, and I don't know why they've done that, but there's more facts to me when I get all the facts, I can make a better decision.
And Matt, another guy, we're talking about big fan bases. I've been a UFC fan for a long time, and George St. Pierre has been one of my favorite fighters. Dana White recently said he may never come back to the UFC. Tell the fans that are just getting into the sport how big of a blow it would be for them not to be able to see one of the best fighters of all time.
Well, George, he's made a lot of money, and if you watch his fight career, he's just lost a step with every fight. His last fight against Johnny Hendricks was super close.
Yep.
A lot of people thought maybe Johnny won the fight and George, but it's got to be hard for George because he's made so much money in the past that what motivates you? If you've got all this money, why do I need to get motivated to keep fighting if I can retire right now and be happy the rest of my life? So George was a great competitor, super competitor, but he didn't finish a lot of guys either. So I mean, it all depends on what you like to watch. But as far as controlling a fight, George is one of the best. Maybe up until that last fight of his.
You talked about some of the best people to watch in the UFC and some of the must-see fighters now. Some names brought up: Conor McGregor, Daniel Cormier. Who's your favorite UFC fighter to watch now, and why?
Robbie Lawler. I know Robbie Lawler. I think he's a great guy, and he goes into a fight to end it. He does not go in to win a decision. And a lot of guys go in theory, hey, if I control 2 out of the 3 rounds and win the judges over, then I win a decision. Robbie doesn't do that. He goes in there to finish a fight, throws big shots, and a lot of times that happens. So those are the type of guys I like to see go in there, fight, and win because they're trying to entertain the crowd as much as they can.
And make sure here in the Capital Region to check out the Sportsman channel. And if you are a Verizon Fios customer, contact Verizon 800-710-1922. Visit keepsportsman.com to make sure it stays here and use the hashtag on Twitter, keepsportsman. He is a 2-time welterweight champion, UFC Hall of Fame inductee, Matt Hughes. Matt, thank you so much for the time. We'll talk again soon. Take care.
Thanks, sir.